Greetings and salutations, my friends. Welcome to my Xbox. What's it called? I've totally forgotten what it's called. Xbox One X. What a stupid name. Have they not learnt? Even one of the guys called it an X-Bone X-y thing. Welcome to my review of the E3 press conference. I thought it was really good. Just to let you know, I am not really like a PlayStation or an Xbox. I don't give a shit about the war. I don't understand why people argue, just get the one you like. You should be glad that there's a competitor and they're both better, makes them both better. Overall, I'd say I'm PC Master Race. I do own a PlayStation 4. Previous to that, it was an Xbox 360 and then a PlayStation 2 and 1 and all that sort of stuff. I just get the one that I think's better. So, in this video, we're going to talk about what happened in the press conference. If you don't know, I'll put a link in the description if you want to go and watch the press conference. Otherwise, you just won't have a fucking clue what I'm on about. So, firstly, they talked about the Xbox One X. Just keep it Scorpio. Scorpio's a good name. November the 7th, and it's going to cost $500. And it's a worldwide release, which is nice. I hate it when they leave other countries out. It's just a mid-range PC in a box, really. There's not too much to say it. You can go and look up the specs. I'm not that much of a techie person. And, yeah, I think it's good. I think for $500, you'd struggle to get to build a PC or buy a PC that matches that. But at the end of the day, it's a decent PC in a box. And if you were playing the drinking game where if they mention 4K, you have to take a shot, you're probably dead or very hungover at this point. They like to talk about 4K a lot. So, on to games. First one we saw was Forza 7. Looks beautiful. It always does. It was fine. It's a racing game. It's hard to sort of sell that more because, you know, last Forza 6 looked amazing. Forza 5 looked amazing. They did then randomly unveil a brand new supercar. He made a big deal of this brand new supercar that was coming out, and it was the first time the world had seen it. And then, quite ironically, I felt, it was a Porsche 911, which has looked the same for the last 50 years, or however long the Porsche 11's been about. It's the Porsche 11 GT, what was it? GT2 RS. Had little extra bits. Just looks like a 911. And it's 60 frames per second, which is fantastic. The weather was lovely and all that good stuff. It's coming out on November the 3rd. Nice thing about Xbox, especially as a mainly PC gamer myself, was that pretty much every single title was, even if it's console exclusive to Xbox, it was still Windows 10. So that's good. Then one of my favourite games, which was Metro Exodus. That looked beautiful. It seemed to play really nice. It looked lovely. I played Metro last night. I've played all the Metro games. If you haven't, go and grab them on a Steam sale because I think there's a summer sale starts June 22nd and so go and grab some of the Metro games. They are brilliant. Really underrated bunch of games. Then it went sort of downish a bit. It went to Assassin's Creed. What was it? Origins. It's Assassin's Creed and it's Egypt. I like Egypt. It's gone a bit more mythological instead of sort of realism, giant snaky things and stuff. I can't be asked to climb to the top of another pyramid and jump off into a bale of hay. Although pyramids you'd have to jump far to get to the hay, wouldn't you? So it'd be interesting how they see it. I'm over Assassin's Creed, I think. Maybe in a couple of years. It just feels very samey. You had the eagle that you could look at shit with. Assassin's Creed. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, you don't. I just got bored of it about 2 Assassin's Creed ago. And then they randomly showed PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds that's been out for ages on the PC and stuff and is on Twitch all the time. They tried to push this Xbox Mixer, which is basically Twitch for Xbox. And sort of tried to sort of say that there was extra little functionality built into the games that only is available on Xbox Mixer. Don't care. Then we had Deep Rock Galactic, which is a sort of procedurally generated Minecrafty co-op game where you sort of tunnel through the earth with your buddies and shoot shit. Lots of creepy crawlies and stuff. Looked alright. State of Decay 2 was there, which was nice to see. Lots of zombies. I'm not generally a massive fan of those survival games, but it piques my interest because, much like State of Decay, it has that sort of building management and building up your settlement and stuff like that. So that might be a maybe that I might play. Then we had the Darwin Project, which is a weird. It was like a battle royale survival-y game, multiplayer, you know, King of the Hill shit, and had a quite a nice art style. It had ability focused, it seemed to be. And then they talked about Mixer, this Mixer interaction, and they said that it was, somebody in the chat has just given this guy an item and stuff. Well, that's just gonna, you know what people of the internet are like. We're all just gonna fuck about and screw people over. So I'm not sure how much. I'm hoping you can turn that shit off. You don't want to get one-on-one for the last spot and then somebody just gives the guy a bazooka or some shit. That wouldn't be fun. And then, the big one, people. Because what Minecraft players wanted more than anything else, what they love more than anything else is good graphics. And now, Minecraft in 4K. Oh, mind blown. Those squares are going to look, those cubes are going to look so cubular. Yay. And then they had Dragon Ball Z Fighter. Dragon Ball Z. Why am I saying Z? I'm not American. Dragon Ball Z Fighter, which is a big fighting game. I have no interest in either Dragon Ball Z, sorry, or fighting games. So, was it good? Tell me. Then we had Black Desert Online, which has been out for a few years in Asia. It's been out for over a year on the PC in Europe and North America. It's a lovely sort of looking game, and a big MMO and fantasy MMO, but it's been out for ages. That, you know, it didn't feel like, it felt like a bit of filler sort of thing. And then they showed a couple of other stuff like The Last Night and The Artful Escape. Both had really nice aesthetic. The Artful Escape looked what I imagine a Magic Mushroom trip to be. A guy floating on stuff, playing a guitar, shit going about. That was just weird. And then they had Codevein, which just looks like an anime Dark Souls. I think it's good to have more Dark Souls-y game because it's a big genre. It's not my particular fancy, but it looked all right. And then we had one of my favourites. This might not be to everyone's taste, but Sea of Thieves just looks like a really fun game. I do plan to make videos on Sea of Thieves. When we get sort of details about exactly when it's coming out and all that good stuff, I will let you guys know, because I want to build a crew. I want to make some videos on Sea of Thieves, have some fun, because it just looks like it might be a really good... We can all do pirate voices. What more could you like? I think that just seems to be a really fun game. The combat looked... The sort of shooting combat and close combat looked a little bit squiffy, but the ship-to-ship stuff was brilliant, and you can fire yourself out of a cannon. So that's all good in my book. Then we had Cuphead, which has a release date, September the 29th, because that's been put back so many times. Again, it's not I love the way it looks, but that sort of game isn't my game at all. It's obviously a console exclusive now. It changed last year, I think, to Xbox, so they must have got a nice big brown envelope from Microsoft for that one. But September 29th, it's got a release date finally. Then we looked at Crackdown 3 with Terry Crews, the legend that is Terry Crews. If you're a PC Master Race person, you know Terry Crews, because he's recently got into PC gaming in a big way. Him and his son did this bonding project where he built himself his first proper gaming PC, piece by piece. It was really, really cool. Crackdown 3 looks fun. It's got looks like four-player co-op, and a shit ton of destruction. That's out on November the 7th. I'm not a massive fan of that art style that's kind of realistic but cartoony. I like full either way. It's like some of the problem that Star Wars The Old Republic had, the MMO, which if you go full cartoon, that's great, and if you go realism, it's just like this halfway house. I'm not a massive fan of that. And then they did this lot of sizzle reel with lots of clips of other games, because they said, we're showing you 42 games tonight, boys, and a lot of them were packed into this sort of sizzle reel. I won't go through. Then we saw a game called Ashen, which looked beautiful. It looks, I don't know what sort of game it is, like it's a sort of survival game. Weirdly, nobody had faces. I'm not sure what's that supposed to represent. Like the faceless people. don't know, some deep and meaningful shit. And then came Square Enix with Life is Strange Before the Storm. I don't know why I've added that voice. If you played Life is Strange, it's really good. It's episodic, sort of really heavily story-driven, walking simulator type stuff. It's one of the few games that me and my missus played together and she really enjoyed, because there's not any difficult combat or anything to get a head around. We could just enjoy the story. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely going to play that with the missus. And then we had the big one, for me anyway, which was Middle-earth Shadow of War. I finished the previous game just recently. I finally got around to playing it and I adored it. The whole system with the bad guys is amazing. But this time they're taking that much further. You can recruit an army and you can plan out an attack on a fort and all this sort of stuff after you sort of dominated all these orcs and stuff. And that orc dude at the beginning that pulled the head off the little orc, he was a big fucking orc. I didn't know orcs got that big, but he was a monster. But you build the army, that looks just really, really fun. Can't wait for that. And then some random piano dude started playing and we're like, oh, here we go. It's like a cut price version of PlayStation last year. Or 2 years ago. Time flies when you're this old. It all blends in, really. But then it was because he was the composer for Ori and the Blind Forest, and it's the new Ori game, which is The Will of the Wisp, I think it's called. It looks absolutely stunning. Probably the best looking game for me. I never actually played Ori. Again, it's not my type of game. I only have a limited time to play games, and so I'm very sort of particular about my game. Not saying it's a bad game. It was well received, but just for me personally, not my stuff, but to look at, absolutely stunning. And then they announced backward compatibility for the original Xbox, and then they showed like Crimson Skies and stuff like this, and that's great. I think they've done, because that was a big thing when the new consoles came out, was are you going to offer backwards compatibility? That's really important. But they've since done studies that show what a tiny percentage of people actually use it. It's nice to have the option, but if I could play original Xbox titles, there's maybe 2 or 3 that I might pick up. I'm not really that bothered, to be honest. I tend not to replay games that much anyway. But for people that do like to replay games, I know there's people out there that have a favourite game that they replay like once a year as a sort of thing. So for some people, that's great. And then they talked about 4K updates for free. They mentioned 4K a lot. They mentioned 4K updates for a bunch of games for free, which is good, because it's not that massive a deal. Sorry, but it's not. It would be weird if they suddenly said for all your games you can pay an extra $10 to get the update as like a DLC. So that's good. And then they showed Anthem, which is BioWare's next big game, and you can see where a lot of people are upset with Mass Effect, the new Mass Effect game, because Anthem seems to be where the budget went. I think they had decent facial animations. It's an open world. There was some proper Iron Man shit. Do you see where the thing comes up and he targeted all these things and all the little rockets popped out like in Iron Man? Amazing, in a big mortar, sort of big sort of mechy type suits, very sort of Destiny, very, very Destiny sort of like. I'm not sure if it's going to hold my attention. I played a bit of Destiny and I played a bit of the other one, and whatever it's called, how little I played of that one, it shows it. It just didn't hold my attention because those sort of looter shooters just kind of got annoying. Like, there's a guy that I'm fighting in a t-shirt. What is that other one called? Division. Yes. Grabbed it from my brain. Like, I'm running about with the fucking M4A1 thingy majig gun. Let's call it a gun. And there's a guy in a t-shirt, and I've shot him 30 times in the head, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm only on half health. Like, that just sort of takes you out of it, these big bullet sponges. So, but from what it looks like in Anthem was the fact that there was lots of enemies, and you were super powerful, like you were blowing up shit, they were dying in one hit, and it was all great. I'd much rather have more enemies that blow up and you feel like powerful rather than these massive bullet sponges, especially any sort of remote boss fight that takes 1 million machine gun rounds to the face before they go down. I'd much rather have a tactical battle with a boss fight rather than just jump, lay into him for a bit, jump out of the way, lay into him for a bit, that sort of stuff. And I had a big giant robot, so I like the flying bit and the underwater bit, all good. I'm just not sure if that's the sort of game for me. Like I said, I played a little bit of The Division, didn't get into it. A little bit of Destiny, didn't get into it. It'll be very interesting to see Destiny 2 head-to-head with this Anthem game. But like I said, it's very multiplayer Destiny and Mass Effect's love child in a game. Just converged into a game. But overall, I thought it was a really good conference. It looks like Xbox are learning from past mistakes. Do you remember the fun press conference where they discussed how good it was connecting it to your TV and having screen on screen and all this stuff no one gives a shit about? They just went, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game, here's a game. And that was really, really good. They said a few things like, everyone but the most ardent Xbox fanatics will say that actually PlayStation's doing better this year. It's got more exclusive. It's probably got more variety of games. And Phil Spencer did talk about a lot about how the Xbox has got the widest variety of games and stuff like that. So like, okay, all right. Yeah, if you're including your original Xbox titles, maybe. But overall, I thought it was a really good conference. I'd love to know how much Microsoft paid EA to have Anthem on Microsoft's press conference, because Electronic Arts really suffered for it. You saw yesterday's video, and if they'd had that bit of Anthem in the Electronic Arts press conference, it would have been better. It would have been, instead of a 3 or 4 out of 10, it would maybe been 5 or a 6. But I'd love to know how much wedge you have to give EA to have that BioWare game. That would be fascinating. Overall, I'd say I thought it was good. I'm gonna give it a 7. I'm quite hard to please. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. I think, like I said, the big games for me are Middle Earth, Sea of Thieves, and one other one that's on a different page, because I made lots of notes. Where is it? Assassin's Creed. No, I was just joking. Shit, what was it? Anybody know? Can anybody remember what I just said? Oh, Life is Strange is a big one, because that's a me and a missus thing, so that'll be really cool. And maybe Anthem, I'm going to need to see much more of Anthem before that really builds the hype up. Sea of Thieves is just going to be a really good fun game. I'm planning to hopefully do lots of videos on the channel about Sea of Thieves and some of our drunken adventures. I might have to make it a rule that we have to get drunk to play Sea of Thieves and just talk like pirates. We'll see about that. Right, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Give it your rating out of 10. Also, tell me what you're looking forward to. Anything I've missed or any information I've missed. Are you going to be buying the new Xbox? I'd love to know, anybody that's got an Xbox One, are you going to buy the Xbox One X? Is it worth the upgrade? I think it's probably more for people that have like a mid-range PC, a PC it's time to upgrade. And then you can see this nice chunky Xbox and, pay $500 and you've got a decent mid-tier PC. I think that's the sort of market they're going for. Or, because they're releasing it, trying to release it for the Christmas period. But I think a lot, depending very much on your budget, if you're asking your parents for an Xbox for Christmas, I don't know how much the price drop on the original Xbox. It's got to be less than 300 now. So I'd still buy... I think the S version, the Xbox One S. I've got a PlayStation 4. I only got it like a few months ago, and I could have got the Pro, but I didn't bother because it's just not enough to be worth that extra cash. But I'd love to know your thoughts on everything that was in today's show. Right, there we go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, check out my other stuff, do lots of Let's Plays and random shit. I will be covering all the conferences, including the PC conference, PC Master Race. Yeah. Thank you very much. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.